are going to come, and we have 3. I said, give us 3. Then I said, you know what? Send over 9 or 6 or 3 or 2. Doesn't matter. Send over whoever you want. But it's common sense. So now when they make that turn, they make it, and now all of a sudden they can't go any further, and they have to go back. And that's going to stop the caravans for 2 reasons. Number one, they're not going to be able to get through. But when they realize they can't get through, what's going to happen? They're not going to form, and they're not going to try and come up. And they can apply for asylum, and they can, most importantly, they can apply for citizenship, because the companies that I told you that created these great job numbers, they're incredible job numbers, beyond anybody's expectations. I don't think there was one Wall Street genius, of which I know many of them, but they're not geniuses. There's not one that predicted anywhere close to these job numbers. I thought they were going to be good, but there wasn't one that I saw. So now we have everything so beautifully handled. We need to have, however, we need border security. And all of this security, if we do what I think what the Democrats want, all of the border things that we'll be building will be done right here in the good old USA by steel companies that were practically out of business when I came into office as president, and now they're thriving. You call up the heads of U.S. Steel, and I could name 10 companies. You look at what's going on in the steel industry. It's almost a miracle. It was a dead industry. We need steel for defense. We need steel for a lot of things, steel and aluminum. But those industries were in deep trouble. The steel industry was almost dead. And now it's a very vibrant, vibrant industry. So what I'm going to do is ask, first of all, Mike Pence, Vice President, to say a couple of words, because Mike is, we put together a team of people that will work over the weekend, and they'll be negotiating on the border, on the look, on different things having to do with border security, including at the ports of entry. And I think they're going to be very successful, because I found the Democrats really want to do something. So we're at 5.6, if you look at it, $5.6 billion. But we are able to also, in addition to that, because what we want to do has to be done properly, and we're negotiating very tough prices, very, very tough, because you heard much higher numbers. Those higher numbers were very much a misnomer. You heard 20 and 25 billion in DACA. What happened is when a judge incredibly, because it was an incredibly, I will say, wrong decision. In fact, President Obama, when he signed the DACA with the executive order, made a statement to the effect, this isn't going to work. And some judge from the Ninth Circuit, here we go again, upheld it. And then it was upheld by the Ninth Circuit appellate, and now it's going before the United States Supreme Court, and hopefully that will be properly adjudicated, because if it is, talks will begin on larger immigration matters having to do with DACA, having to do with other things. So that is taking place. We may add a few things onto our discussions over the weekend, but I'm going to ask Mike Pence, and then I'll have Leader McCarthy say a few words, and we'll take a couple of questions. But we're very proud of the jobs and the job numbers. That was incredible. And I think I'll be even more proud if we can have great border security for the first time in really the history of our country. The southern.
All right. So what do y'all think? Donald Trump is getting ready to drop a bombshell. From what I understand, he's going to break down why the Oval Office was shut down. They're going to get into all this shit. All right, it's going to start in about 30 minutes. Okay? So we're going to talk about this because, you know, we always, us, you know, fellow free thinkers, free-minded people, all right, what do y'all think Trump going to drop on y'all? You know what I think? You know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking drones. Yeah. All right. They're going to put drones on the border. Big ass, huge ass drones. All right. All right. Yeah, I know crime. Y'all ain't got, but see, that's the thing. Chucky, who is Mexican and who is Honduran? You really don't know. That's right, nigga. True colors. They gonna come with the goddamn drones. They're gonna be big weaponized drones, nigga. Some shit off of Call of Duty. We sit there and play that goddamn game all the time. Call of Duty, Ghost Recon. All right, we be having fun with the game. Taking the motherfucking drone have explosives on the motherfuckers. Be sitting there blowing shit up. All right. Hell, they call it a dragon fire on Call of Duty, but that's a goddamn drone. Go up in the sky with the little flying robot, run around. Bitch got 4 propellers on it. You run around and just start shooting motherfuckers from the sky. All right, some people thought it was a cheat weapon, but hell, it wasn't a cheat weapon if you pulled it. All right. So the Mexicans look cleaner than the Central Americans. Wow. So it's that fucking noticeable. Wow. He's a truce on the border, shoot to kill, fuck the wall. uh, all right, Snoopy. See, we go back to that. We go back to that discussion I was talking about to the military. I wish my girl Lady Law was in here. All right, we talk about them goddamn killers that kill babies and shit, cause that ain't gonna work. Shoot to kill. All right, Snoopy, they're gonna put the kids up there first. They're gonna send the kids across the border first. That's gonna be that first line. You gonna shoot them babies? You gonna shoot them 3-year-olds? Snoopy, you gonna gun them down? All right, they gonna send the women and the children first. You already know, Snoopy. Huh? Look, somebody said, yep. Y'all ain't shit. All right. All right, shit. Uh, uh, all right, look at Snoopy. Snoopy said look. Hey, who else ready? Snoopy said he ready. Tim, they ready. Everybody ready? Who ready? Who ready to gun down the good? They gonna send the kids first. They gonna send the kids first. All right. Now, Chucky, I do agree with what you just said right there. All right, you put a tunnel under a wall, and they've been digging tunnels for thousands of years, going from one end to the other. It's like if you find a tunnel, right, and the tunnel goes to the Mexican border. Okay, only thing they do is blow up half the tunnel. They don't blow up the whole tunnel. It's half the tunnel. All right. Well, yeah, the tunnels are not being held up by anything. So, you dig a tunnel and you don't have any type of structure or something to hold that mud up. I mean, hell, the only thing I would think would be like what's that shit called? That liquid cement? I would need like a shitload of liquid cement. A shitload. You hear me? I would need a shitload of liquid cement. Now you dig that tunnel, I'm right behind you coming with the liquid cement. We gonna be straight. All right. Somebody be behind me putting up them goddamn wooden planks. Okay. But y'all forgetting about one thing. I heard a YouTube, well, it wasn't a YouTuber. I think it was a YouTuber that said it earlier. What about the illegal immigrants or the ones that get passports and fly into America? and just come here and don't leave. So you have a whole lot of what ifs, right? Now, truth be told, okay, it would be harder to come in uh, illegally into America on a plane, all right? But let them tell it. Shit, two foreigners drove an airplane into the Twin Towers. All right, so we going off of y'all story and y'all logic and how y'all use this shit. All right, I feel like we're counting down to like a WrestleMania and shit. Like this is like the pre-show. It's like when something monumental is about to happen. I'm expecting RoboCop to walk out from the White House like "Geek, geek, the wave of the future. Geek." You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I hope today is the day Donald releases the Trump robot. You know what I'm saying? This motherfucker be able to kill people from one end of the border to the next. It could run, it could jump, it could fly. All right, the bitch have rocket boosters on the back of it. All right, maybe they could do a test run. That motherfucker fly from the White House to the border and back, have a camera on it. Matter of fact, that robot should have a camera on it, and we should be able to look at the camera like if they could just like live stream the robot on YouTube like 24/7, so we all could look at the robot and shit. Intruder, intruder, you have 5 seconds. You have 5 seconds. For YouTube and shit, like they could make the blood like rainbow colored or something. Like every time the robot was about to shoot somebody, it'd be pixelated or something. You feel me? That's how we know like that person was terminated. All right. Yeah, Chucky. Look, they could run. Look, they could get the fake L's and all that other shit, but they won't be able to run from the robot, nigga. All right, that motherfucker have thermal energy. We need a thermal, imaging robot, some shit that could look in the ground like the Predator, nigga. All right. I want to see some of this high tech shit. These, the military always be talking about some high tech shit. All right. We saw the Predator, nigga, so we want to see like the Predator outfit. All right, with Trump logo on, big ass Trump like stamp on the front of that bitch. Okay, because when the robots start killing like women and children and babies, and it it's no kinds of goddamn robot. All right, yeah, we already got the drones. Like they gonna have the drones running around, and then they gonna have the robot running around. All right, let me see. All right, all right, all right. Oh, so this is supposed to be part of the ramp. Let me see. Uh, oh. Kind of broke the box, me, man. That's why you having problems moving too fast. This was actually supposed to stay in the box like that. That was supposed to stay in the box. You're just supposed to tear out the middle and like that's the ramp like that. Well, you didn't tore it apart. Lord. All right. So as we count down, all right, how many minutes we got left? Oh yeah, we got a little time. We got a little time, not a whole lot of time. All right. But as you can see, there's a chat room. Let me see if I can't blow up this chat room. As you can see, they have a chat room, and there are what 30,000 people watching this live right now. So we definitely got a hot topic on deck. All right, a lot of people feel a certain type of way about this, and this is even with the damn slow mode on. Like, my God, this chat room is like out of control. All right, I can't paste that. All right, I did something wrong. Yeah, I definitely did something wrong. Wait a minute. Okay, this and that. Okay, I'm gonna sit this chat room right over here, just so y'all can see. Like, this is a really, 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 really hot topic. All right, the people, all right, are really showing up in the masses. All right, there is a lot of support, I would say, for the wall. There's a lot of support for the wall. Okay, a shitload lot. Okay, let me see something here. All right, so we got a hot chat room. NBC is also getting ready. They're live right now. They started live streaming. All right. I think they got the best shot. All right. All right. They look like they got the best seat in the house. All right. Shot at the White House, the real White House. That motherfucker is very, very white. Okay. You cannot be dark going to the White House. You got to be at least light skin or brown skin. Not they don't tolerate the dark ones. All right. They don't tolerate the dark ones. I hear my phone going off. Hold on one second, y'all. All right. Hold on one second. All right, all right, all right, all right. We are back live with live, all right, closed caption circuit television of the White House. For all right, let's get the chat room back up here. Okay, and with the Donald. All right, getting ready. All right. Yeah, look, that one chat room's on fire right now. I got one chat room on fire, and NBC didn't shut they shit down. All right, all right, all right. Lord, he said you really excited. Yes. All right, all right. Yeah. All right. Somebody said Vic 24/7 isn't live. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, it sounds like I'm pretty goddamn live. I hope I hit the right button. I hope I hit the right button. All right. You say it's doing a national emergency. No, I wouldn't say a national emergency. I'd say this is going to be something that has just been a long time coming. I say it's a long time coming. Donald in that motherfucker right now. What do y'all think he doing? It's 19 minutes. He ain't doing nothing but sitting there drinking, right? Fucking around on Twitter. Donald Trump like to fuck with Twitter. I should go check his Twitter. Let me go check Donald Trump's Twitter line. All right. Now, if you on any type of federal government charges, I would not advise you type Donald Trump in the Twitter. All right. Who you know on Twitter? Not now. Okay, come on, come on. Not now. What the fuck is this? I can't move it. Uh-oh. Did Donald lock up my phone? Uh-oh. Donald already fucked up my shit. Go to my Wi-Fi signal. All right, here we go. Search Twitter. All right. Donald Trump. All right. All right. All right. All tweets. There we go. All right. Maybe he's gonna get. All right. Yeah. Donald Trump has 57 million followers on Twitter. Ah, they putting a photo talk about Trump's army is bigger than you ever imagined. All right. All right. All types of people. All types of people going at Trump. Trump is getting trolled to death. It's one motherfucker on here call himself the gay Captain America. He going in on Trump. All right. She tried to build her ramp, but that wasn't a part of it, unfortunately. And then, yeah, exactly. I like that photo. Take the open door challenge, America. All right. All right. Yeah, we got 15 minutes. Good Lord. All right. I didn't went on Donald's Twitter page, and my God. All right. Okay. Oh, man. Let's see. Okay. There's now a report, side note, that R. Kelly is officially under criminal investigation. It says some 11 years, and this is reported by Double XL. So some 11 years after being found not guilty in a child porn case, R. Kelly is once again subject of a criminal investigation. The Blast exclusively reported the news on Tuesday, January 8th, which would be today, According to the celebrity news site, the Fulton County District Attorney's Office probed into his particular case after the premiere of Surviving R. Kelly, a six-part Lifetime produced docuseries that chronicles uh, the nearly 3 decades worth of abuse allegations against the singer. The blast reports that Jocelyn Savage, who used to live in the alleged sex cult in an R. Kelly owned Georgia mansion, has been contacted by the Fulton County DA in regards to the case. They apparently want Savage to come in for questioning. Apparently, Georgia law enforcement have been reaching out to several of R. Kelly's alleged victims from the docuseries, including Ashanti McGee. If you recall, she reportedly escaped from R. Kelly's Georgia home, where she lived as a member of alleged sex cult. Interestingly, it was just yesterday, that January 7th, that McGee challenged Kelly to take a lie detector test on national TV. And it reads, I quote, I would challenge him to actually do a lie detector test on a live television show like Good Morning America or America Today, she said at the time. So if you want to prove your innocence and say we're all lying, and I know we are not, I challenge him to take a lie detector test. So this has been reported today. Fulton County would be Georgia. It's too bad, Fulton County, them good old boys, they just love locking up niggas. I'm just for real. But they should have checked the receipts that have been posted about all these people that been told lies on R. Kelly before they jumped the gun. Then we're gonna lock him up, boy. Having in R. County, we're gonna lock him up, boy. Touching on them their kids. And then the funny thing is, all right, now, yeah, and it's officially hit TMZ. Yep. Side note, side note. All right. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And they said the DA are not commenting. Wow. Chicago prosecutors ask victims to please come forward. Here come the police. All right. Damn it. All right, R. Kelly, they couldn't shame you, my brother. They couldn't shame you. Okay. They couldn't shame you. So you know what? They're gonna turn around and lock your ass up. They couldn't shame the brother. Okay? They couldn't take him down that way. That's right. The Million Woman March is coming. Yeah, man. They couldn't take him out in the eyes of the media. We said we not buying that shit. Those were some hoes. Those were some hoes. Those were some hoes. And look, they went and grabbed the law. All right, this shit has just hit officially. It is slowly spreading. You know what I'm saying? You know, your boy VicDamoane be on it first. I'm looking at it while the numbers are in single digits. You'll definitely hear it about everywhere tomorrow. Hold on one second. Yeah, yeah. But we are down to the 5 minute mark. We want to pop a brew for R. Kelly, all right? As we get ready, all right? As we get ready, all right? It's almost like, you know, we should have some music on or something like that. But, this the presidential shit. You know, we can't play no rap shit, in the White House. Maybe if Obama was in there, we could put on a little Public Enemy and shit. Bang some Public Enemy. Like at 12 o'clock noon, put some speakers. See, you know what I'm saying? We could put some motherfucking 18-inch subs, some motherfucking club speakers. We need them. We need 8 of them. Have like 8 speakers. Actually, no, have 10 speakers on top of the White House. And the DJ booth could be like right there in the front. Like, see, we put the DJ booth right here, right? And then we put 4 speakers on this side, and then we put 4 speakers over here on this side, and then we put 2 speakers in the back behind the DJ booth where the flag at, facing the flag. Okay, we could bang that motherfucker out. Everybody in DC would hear that shit. All right. I would DJ at the White House now. I would just want that speaker set up on the rooftop. All right. And then I would want like, a cover because I don't give a fuck if it's raining or not. I want, you know what I'm saying? I don't want anything shutting me down. So I will want some like aluminum covering on the rooftop of the White House. Like that might be an upgrade that they end up keeping. You know what I'm saying? Have shade on the White House. You can sit up there, eat, kick it, whatever. Have your lunch on the rooftop of the White House with the snipers and shit. All right, build relationships and this, that, the other. All right. Snipers don't need to hear shit. They just need to see shit. All right. They got the little thing in the air. All right. And we bang on the White House. We play everything. Some rock music, some motherfucking R&B, some hip hop. Okay. All right. Would I play my intro? Absolutely. Look. All right. All of it. I dare motherfucker say something. Like, you go ahead and try to sue Donald Trump for me playing all types of industry music on top of the motherfucking White House. Kiss my ass. Y'all gonna sue the White House? That shit'll never go to court. That shit'll never go to court. You be waiting 1,000 years before that shit actually go to court. You can't take the court to court. I mean, you can't take the judges to court. It just don't work that way. Whoever took a Congress member to court, whoever tried to sue a Congress member, you can't sue Congress. All right, Congress tell me it's cool. I'm a really show out. All right, I'm gonna have dancers and shit with lights and shit like that. Let Congress approve it. All right, let Congress approve it. It's gonna be a whole lot of pissed off celebrities. All right, it's gonna be a shitload of pissed off. Like I can't believe. You know the first song I'm gonna play? I'm gonna play Sting shit. You know, Sting and Tracy Chapman, because them motherfuckers like to sue people for playing they shit. Them will be extra on the list. Make sure I play a whole lot of Sting music while I'm screaming, "Fuck you, Sting! Sue this bitch!" All right, nigga would love to sit up there, sit on top of the White House, be smoking some weed, blowing a blunt and shit. It don't get no more American than that. Okay. All right. I like to go to the. I like to come to the UK and make the Queen of England hip. I would love to do that. I would love to go to the UK and make the Queen of England hip. All right. You know the first thing I say to the Queen of England? I say, "What up, though? Where the hoes at?" She said, "Where are the hoes?" Yeah, 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 yeah. Where the hoes at? See if she, you know, come around. Think I'm only asking you this to see how far in the game you are actually in. Because I'm pretty sure.
Address to the nation.
Oh, shit. Here we
Here's
go,
Lester Holt.
Here
Good evening, everyone. Tonight, President Trump addresses the nation on the continuing impasse over funding for his long-promised border wall. The president will be speaking shortly from the White House, his first primetime speech from the Oval Office. An extraordinary moment, and of course it comes in the midst of a partial government shutdown, already the second largest in U.S. history, triggered by the political deadlock over the wall. The shutdown, now in day 18, has left some 800,000 federal workers across the country out of work or working without pay, making them and those who rely on them pawns in an increasingly painful political standoff not of their own making. The president has made immigration his signature issue, but he has been unable to reach consensus on the need for the wall and is considering declaring a national emergency as a way of funding the wall without legislation. That would certainly be challenged in court. Democratic leaders Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer will be responding to the president tonight. We will be carrying that live as well. Border security is a complicated, emotional issue. There have been a number of false and misleading claims about it in recent days. Our team of correspondents will be watching closely and giving us their analysis and expertise. But right now, here's the president.
My fellow Americans, tonight I am speaking to you because there is a growing humanitarian and security crisis at our southern border. Every day, Customs and Border Patrol agents encounter thousands of illegal immigrants trying to enter our country. We are out of space to hold them, and we have no way to promptly return them back home to their country. America proudly welcomes millions of lawful immigrants who enrich our society and contribute to our nation. But all Americans are hurt by uncontrolled illegal migration. It strains public resources and drives down jobs and wages. Among those hardest hit are African Americans and Hispanic Americans. Our southern border is a pipeline for vast quantities of illegal drugs, including meth, heroin, cocaine, and fentanyl. Every week, 300 of our citizens are killed by heroin alone, 90% of which floods across from our southern border. More Americans will die from drugs this year than were killed in the entire Vietnam War. In the last 2 years, ICE officers made 266,000 arrests of aliens with criminal records, including those charged or convicted of 100,000 assaults, 30,000 sex crimes, and 4,000 violent killings. Over the years, thousands of Americans have been brutally killed by those who illegally entered our country, and thousands more lives will be lost if we don't act right now. This is a humanitarian crisis, a crisis of the heart and a crisis of the soul. Last month, 20,000 migrant children were illegally brought into the United States, a dramatic increase. These children are used as human pawns by vicious coyotes and ruthless gangs. 1 in 3 women are sexually assaulted on the dangerous trek up through Mexico. Women and children are the biggest victims, by far, of our broken system. This is the tragic reality of illegal immigration on our southern border. This is the cycle of human suffering that I am determined to end. My administration has presented Congress with a detailed proposal to secure the border and stop the criminal gangs, drug smugglers, and human traffickers. It's a tremendous problem. Our proposal was developed by law enforcement professionals and border agents at the Department of Homeland Security. These are the resources they have requested to properly perform their mission and keep America safe. In fact, safer than ever before. The proposal from Homeland Security includes cutting-edge technology for detecting drugs, weapons, illegal contraband, and many other things. We have requested more agents, immigration judges, and bed space to process the sharp rise in unlawful migration fueled by our very strong economy. Our plan also contains an urgent request for humanitarian assistance and medical support. Furthermore, we have asked Congress to close border security loopholes so that illegal immigrant children can be safely and humanely returned back home. Finally, as part of an overall approach to border security, law enforcement professionals have requested $5.7 billion for a physical barrier. At the request of Democrats, it will be a steel barrier rather than a concrete wall. This barrier is absolutely critical to border security. It's also what our professionals at the border want and need. This is just common sense. The border wall would very quickly pay for itself. The cost of illegal drugs exceeds $500 billion a year, vastly more than the $5.7 billion we have requested from Congress. The wall will also be paid for indirectly by the great new trade deal we have made with Mexico. Senator Chuck Schumer, who you will be hearing from later tonight, has repeatedly supported a physical barrier in the past, along with many other Democrats. They changed their mind only after I was elected president. Democrats in Congress have refused to acknowledge the crisis, and they have refused to provide our brave border agents with the tools they desperately need to protect our families and our nation. The federal government remains shut down for one reason, and one reason only, because Democrats will not fund border security. My administration is doing everything in our power to help those impacted by the situation. But the only solution is for Democrats to pass a spending bill that defends our borders and reopens the government. This situation could be solved in a 45-minute meeting. I have invited congressional leadership to the White House tomorrow to get this done. Hopefully, we can rise above partisan politics in order to support national security. Some have suggested a barrier is immoral. Then why do wealthy politicians build walls, fences, and gates around their homes? They don't build walls because they hate the people on the outside, but because they love the people on the inside. The only thing that is immoral is the politicians to do nothing and continue to allow more innocent people to be so horribly victimized. America's heart broke the day after Christmas when a young police officer in California was savagely murdered in cold blood by an illegal alien who just came across the border. The life of an American hero was stolen by someone who had no right to be in our country. Day after day, precious lives are cut short by those who have violated our borders. In California, an Air Force veteran was raped, murdered, and beaten to death with a hammer by an illegal alien with a long criminal history. In Georgia, an illegal alien was recently charged with murder for killing, beheading, and dismembering his neighbor. In Maryland, MS-13 gang members who arrived in the United States as unaccompanied minors were arrested and charged last year after viciously stabbing and beating a 16-year-old girl. Over the last several years, I've met with dozens of families whose loved ones were stolen by illegal immigration. I've held the hands of the weeping mothers and embraced the grief-stricken fathers. So sad, so terrible. I will never forget the pain in their eyes, the tremble in their voices, and the sadness gripping their souls. How much more American blood must we shed before Congress does its job? To those who refuse to compromise in the name of border security, I would ask, imagine if it was your child, your husband, or your wife whose life was so cruelly shattered and totally broken. To every member of Congress, pass a bill that ends this crisis. To every citizen, call Congress and tell them to finally, after all of these decades, secure our border. This is a choice between right and wrong, justice and injustice. This is about whether we fulfill our sacred duty to the American citizens we serve. When I took the oath of office, I swore to protect our country, and that is what I will always do. So help me God. Thank you and good night.
President Trump live from the Oval Office with about an 8 or 9 minute address as promised, making arguments that have become quite familiar in his support for a wall, or as he now says, a steel barrier on the southern border. The president repeating some of the dubious claims he's made in the past, including the idea that Mexico would indirectly pay for the construction of a wall through a trade deal that has not been ratified and contains no language that would suggest that kind of funding. The president also making an economic argument and an argument about crime. Let's bring in right now, Meet the Press moderator Chuck Todd in Washington. Chuck, what did you pick up?
Well, what was intriguing to me is how much it lacked any new information in some ways. It actually reminded me he gave a more formalized version of really what the stump speech he used in the last month of the campaign when he was trying to make the case that there was a crisis at the border, when he was trying to use the fear of crime. He used various phrases like he did tonight, you know, how much more blood has to be shed. He really would try to put it in very visual, stark terms. And as we now know, that had no impact there. So I am a bit surprised that this speech is just essentially a rewritten version of that stump speech, but without the, without the sort of the fiery rhetoric. And then it was, I would say, probably the most, he made a lot of dubious claims. One of the more dubious on the political front was the claim that he made about when he said, and finally I want a physical barrier, and at the request of the Democrats, it's no longer a concrete wall, it's steel. I don't know how many Democrats would line up and say, oh yes, no, they said, sure, have your wall as long as it's steel and not concrete. Some of this back and forth, Lester, is about semantics, right? Some of this is about, the irony here is what the president outlined. Democrats would support 90% of what he outlined. It's just simply that physical barrier part where is the sticking point, and I think that's where we're stuck. We're stuck on semantics.
We're a few minutes away from the Democratic response, but let me bring in our chief White House correspondent, Hallie Jackson, who's been watching this with us. Hallie, a few weeks ago, the president said he would proudly own a government shutdown. He would take it, that he wouldn't blame Democrats. Then he came along and said, you can call it the Trump shutdown, you can call it the Pelosi shutdown. Tonight, he was laying it squarely at the feet of Democrats. What's the thinking there?
And he was putting it in very stark terms, Lester. This is about right and wrong, justice versus injustice. This is about the president trying to make his case. And to Chuck's point there, probably the newest part about this speech was the setting. It was the president in the Oval Office using that presidential pulpit to deliver a message directly to the American people. This is about a PR push for the president to try to sell his thinking and his strategy behind this shutdown. You'll hear Democrats make the counterargument.
All right, Hallie, thank you. As we mentioned, you are going to hear now the Democratic response to the president's remarks delivered from the Capitol Hill by House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer. It's unusual that a presidential speech other than a State of the Union would get a formal response like this, but these are unusual circumstances. Here now the Democrats.
I appreciate the opportunity to speak directly to the American people tonight about how we can end this shutdown and meet the needs of the American people. Sadly, much of what we heard from President Trump throughout this senseless shutdown has been full of misinformation and even malice. The president has chosen fear. We want to start with the facts. The fact is, on the very first day of this Congress, House Democrats passed Senate Republican legislation to reopen government and fund smart, effective border security solutions. But the president is rejecting these bipartisan bills which would reopen government over his obsession with forcing American taxpayers to waste billions of dollars on an expensive and ineffective wall, a wall he always promised Mexico would pay for. The fact is, President Trump has chosen to hold hostage critical services for the health, safety, and well-being of the American people and withhold the paychecks of 800,000 innocent workers across the nation, many of them veterans. He promised to keep government shut down for months or years, no matter whom it hurts. That's just plain wrong. The fact is, we all agree we need to secure our borders while honoring our values. We can build the infrastructure and roads at our ports of entry. We can install new technology to scan cars and trucks for drugs coming into our nation. We can hire the personnel we need to facilitate trade and immigration at the border. We can fund more innovation to detect unauthorized crossings. The fact is, the women and children at the border are not a security threat. They are a humanitarian challenge, a challenge that President Trump's own cruel and counterproductive policies have only deepened. And the fact is, President Trump must stop holding the American people hostage, must stop manufacturing a crisis, and must reopen the government. Thank you. Leader Schumer.
Thank you, Speaker Pelosi. My fellow Americans, we address you tonight for one reason only. The President of the United States, having failed to get Mexico to pay for his ineffective, unnecessary border wall, and unable to convince the Congress or the American people to foot the bill, has shut down the government. American democracy doesn't work that way. We don't govern by temper tantrum. No president should pound the table and demand he gets his way, or else the government shuts down, hurting millions of Americans who are treated as leverage. Tonight, and throughout this debate and throughout his presidency, President Trump has appealed to fear, not facts, division, not unity. Make no mistake, Democrats and the president both want stronger border security. However, we sharply disagree with the president about the most effective way to do it. So, how do we untangle this mess? Well, there's an obvious solution. Separate the shutdown from arguments over border security. There is bipartisan legislation supported by Democrats and Republicans to reopen government while allowing debate over border security to continue. There is no excuse for hurting millions of Americans over a policy difference. Federal workers are about to miss a paycheck. Some families can't get a mortgage to buy a new home. Farmers and small businesses won't get loans they desperately need. Most presidents have used Oval Office addresses for noble purposes. This president just used the backdrop of the Oval Office to manufacture a crisis, stoke fear, and divert attention from the turmoil in his administration. My fellow Americans, there is no challenge so great that our nation cannot rise to meet it. We can reopen the government and continue to work through disagreements over policy. We can secure our border without an ineffective, expensive wall. And we can welcome legal immigrants and refugees without compromising safety and security. The symbol of America should be the Statue of Liberty, not a 30-foot wall. So our suggestion is a simple one. Mr. President, reopen the government and we can work to resolve our differences over border security, but end this shutdown now. Thank you.
That the Democrats' response to the president's remarks. They also not turning over a lot of new territory here, the same arguments we've been hearing from the Democratic side. Let me bring in Casey Hunt. She's been following all this closely and joins us from Capitol Hill. Senator Schumer noted this idea of separating out the shutdown, those issues that they can agree on, from the wall. Is that showing any cracks among Republicans? Are they getting support on that from Republicans?
Lester, good evening. There are some Republicans who have suggested that this is an approach that they would support, particularly some Republicans in the Senate who, come from swing states where opinion on this is not necessarily in line with what the president believes. There are also a number of Republicans in the House that we expect might vote with the approach that House Speaker Nancy Pelosi just laid out there to open up pieces of the government one at a time. But the reality is there probably aren't enough of them to make a veto-proof majority to override this president. That's simply not something that seems realistic, according to all of my sources that I've talked to on Capitol Hill. And the reality from listening to both of these addresses tonight, the view from here, this seems to just escalate this standoff. There's really no end in sight to it. The president clearly digging in. Democrats have no incentive to give him what he wants. The government has been funded several times since this president has been in office without this wall. He has decided that this is going to be his last stand. And Lester, tonight it just doesn't seem as though we are any closer to a resolution here.
Yeah, he didn't seem to offer anything that would bring comfort to those 800,000 workers and their families who will likely miss a check this Friday. Thank you, Casey. One of the many headlines of the president's remarks will be his doubling down on the issue of security and crime, despite the fact there's no evidence suggesting that immigrants create any more crime than native-born Americans. Let's hear what the president had to say about that.
Our southern border is a pipeline for vast quantities of illegal drugs, including meth, heroin, cocaine, and fentanyl. Every week, 300 of our citizens are killed by heroin alone, 90% of which floods across from our southern border. More Americans will die from drugs this year than were killed in the entire Vietnam War.
NBC's Gabe Gutierrez has been reporting from the U.S.-Mexico border. He joins us tonight from El Paso, Texas. What's the reality on the ground here of the drug flow across the border?
Hi, Lester. Good evening. Well, the DEA has said that the vast majority of drugs coming into the U.S. actually come through legal ports of entry, either smugglers taking them in passenger vans or tractor trailers. So critics here on the border say that a wall really wouldn't help any of that. The president also referenced MS-13, something he's done repeatedly as president and also as a candidate, that notorious gang from Central America. And while ICE did make 181,000 arrests last year, less than 3% of them were gang-related, and a small fraction of that were MS-13 related. Now, it is important to point out, from speaking with people here at the border, the president does have many supporters here who do thank him for taking a stand when it comes to this wall. However, we've spoken with many others, advocates, who say that this is a manufactured crisis. Now, the question will be is how, what becomes of this here on the border. We've spoken with several agents here, and as well as federal employees, including one who I just spoke with, who says that this government shutdown is really causing a huge problem for the federal employees here at the border. And while Customs and Border Protection agents do want better security here at the border, this should not be done on the backs of federal workers. Now, Lester, 400,000 apprehensions were made in the southwest border during the last fiscal year, but that is dramatically less than the 1.6 million that were made back in the year 2000. Lester.
Gabe Gutierrez was on the southern border for us tonight. Let me bring back Chuck Todd very quickly. Chuck, I'm scratching my head here trying to figure out who the intended audience was that the president really wanted to reach today.
Well, look, it's pretty clear, and as you know, he hosted a bunch of us that were here in Washington for an off-the-record conversation about previewing tonight's speech. It was pretty clear for me coming away from that without violating the off-the-record that tonight was about, the audience was one group of folks, and it was congressional Republicans. They were looking for the air cover. They were looking for the support. They're the ones that believe the president has mismanaged the messaging on this. Tonight was an attempt to try to get back on top of this, try to reassure these wavering Republicans in Capitol Hill that Casey was talking to you about from bailing on him. He's going to have a meeting with them tomorrow and those Senate Republicans. But I have to tell you, I didn't hear anything tonight that in my mind would somehow reassure wobbly Republicans that they should stick by him on this tomorrow. We'll see if he has any better luck.
In the few seconds we have left, any indication that he would stick to this idea of declaring an emergency and going alone?
I think he may always keep it out there, and he may even attempt to do it if he has to, quote, cave and open the government without getting his wall. He can still hold that out there and maybe even fight it in the courts, declare it, fight it in the courts, but then that politically that might help keep his base. I think it's still his final exit ramp out of this political mess that he's put himself in.
All right, Chuck Todd, thank you. That concludes tonight's live coverage. We're returning you now to our previously scheduled programming. We'll continue to follow all this on MSNBC and on NBCNews.com. For now,
there it is. All right. Donald Trump saying one thing, Democrats saying another. All right. Going down in Chinatown. All right. I don't feel that, either side is right because, like they said, the government's been shut down. A lot of people have been out of work. And that's rough. Having to go to work for no money, man. All right, that's really, really tough. All right, but we're going to let this stream render and run. We don't want to get it too long. I want to give a shout out to everybody that came through. And catch up with y'all on the next one.